everyone, and welcome to this video on this plastic injection molded step which I've made. I know it is not a particularly interesting SolidWorks model, I'll give you that. But as I go through it and I explain how it's made, I can promise you that some of the stuff which I've done on this step is actually quite interesting, and for those of you that are interested in SolidWorks and intuitive ways of using the program, I think this will really be interesting for you. So the first thing that you might have noticed in the top left hand corner there, I've just got a cut and pasted image of all of the melting temperatures, etc. for high density polyethylene. And I know that's the plastic which we're using there. You can see it's the material. And when it comes around to actually running a plastic study, you're going to end up needing all of this information anyway. So it's good to have it at hand there, and that's why I've done that. You can very simply do that by just doing Control C and Control V, and it'll just paste it into the window there. You can minimize that, move it around, do whatever you got to do. Okay, so moving on to the actual step itself. The first thing I've done is made a number of different configurations of it. Okay, so you can see underneath here, that one doesn't have any ribs in it, when realistically, if you're going to add strength, you're going to have a product like this, you're going to have ribs. So the default version, let's just let it load up. You can see it's got a nice set of ribs in there. And you'll see that when I run a simulation on that, you can actually prove that it's got added strength by having these ribs in there, which I think is a real nice feature of this and really proves that SolidWorks is a really good program to work with. The next one I've made is just this grip. And so you can see on top there, some nice little ridges. And it's even got, they're even filleted. It's even got the company logo for Solid Solutions, the company I used to work at on there. So that's all nice. And that's kind of example of the details which you can add in on SolidWorks if you really want to, which is nice. But then again, you can always have it in that default state if you don't want to have it to have to be rebuilding all those complex and intricate features every single time. And another configuration which I have is no fillets. So say you just want to be working quickly, it's not going to be rebuilding all those tiny fillets which you've put in just for it to look good when you render it. And personally, I think this is always a good one to fall back on and just use, especially if you're running simulations as well. Let's not kid ourselves. A simulation is just, it's never going to be exactly what happens in the real world. So sometimes things like fillets you can leave out and you'll get a good estimate and good idea of actually how it's going to perform under those loads anyway. Another nice feature of this model is that I've actually added in the display states as well. So actually for this little trick, if I go to View, Display, and take tangent edges as removed, that's going to get any of the tangent edges gone. So it just makes it look a little bit nicer when we view it. And so I'm currently on the light blue display state, and I can just show you that we've got red, green, disgusting mustardy yellow, which you would probably not ever actually injection mold in, black, and the rest of those are also valid. Now let's take a quick look at the simulations. So you can see that I put on two faces there, two splits for different feet where I actually added a load. And if we have a look at the results here, you can see the displacement on the one with ribs is only 0.7 millimeters, so that's perfectly acceptable. You would expect that, and that's for a 75 kilo person with the ribs. Now let's take a little look at the other one without ribs. I am going to need to activate that configuration. See, that doesn't have ribs in it. And so that's going to go down by 20 millimeters, beg your pardon, 2 centimeters, which would really not be acceptable, especially if you're, that's happening day in, day out. That's eventually probably going to fail. So it's a nice way to clarify using SolidWorks that these design changes are necessary for your model. Thank you. I hope that's been of use to you.